In the fierce sweeping winds of the early 20th century, Roy Chapman Andrews led his motor convoy deep into the remote heart of the Gobi Desert, a desolate land long feared and named the place of death. He journeyed far beyond ordinary fossil hunting, for he sought to uncover humanity's earliest faint understanding of the primeval ancient world. Across this barren wilderness, abandoned and forgotten by modern civilization, he faced ruthless bandit gangs and stumbled upon wonders that would rewrite scientific history. Tonight, follow in his footsteps, wander back into those quiet, profound tales hidden within desolate open lands, and sink into calm tranquility amid the low murmuring of drifting sand and wind. If there exists a life entirely devoted to wandering toward distant frontiers, it is undoubtedly the life of Roy Chapman Andrews. Armed with a loaded revolver and delicate precision scientific instruments, he discovered world-altering dinosaur egg nests beneath the towering red cliff faces of the eastern Gobi. This is a quiet story of extraordinary courage and deep thoughtful reflection, free from noisy chaos, filled only with the faint soft sound of weathered rock peeling away and the distant echoing breath of life from millions of years ago. May this gentle fate-filled narration stay beside you and guide you into a peaceful, untroubled dreamland. Tonight's story revolves around one bold explorer who dedicated his life to searching for traces of ancient life amid endless rolling yellow sand. His name was Roy Chapman Andrews. His whole journey was woven with striking contrasts. Rising from a humble museum cleaner to become a world-renowned naturalist, he spent every passing year wandering the open wilderness, searching endlessly for hidden answers. Listen closely as the brutal winds of the Gobi cut through the cracks of history, and feel the quiet, solemn power lingering within those long-forgotten ancient bones. Close your eyes and let this profound, soothing melody carry you back to that pure, perilous golden age of wilderness exploration. Picture the remote depths of the Gobi Desert in the 1920s, thick swirling clouds of crimson sand veiling the sun's full glow upon the horizon. A strange, striking procession made up of sturdy Dodge automobiles and long, winding camel caravans traveled slowly and silently across the almost entirely uninhabited wilderness. Leading the expedition stood a man with a revolver fastened firmly at his waist, his gaze sharp and piercing like that of a soaring eagle, guiding humanity forward into an ancient, forbidden realm never before uncovered by modern eyes. He was Roy Chapman Andrews, later known to the world as the real-life prototype of Indiana Jones. Yet in his later years he carried a deep, heavy sense of debt and regret toward the vast wilderness that had brought him boundless fame and glory. Tonight, let the soft, gentle glow of flickering firelight stay with us as we walk fully into the untold story of his life. This journey was far more than an expedition to hunt for fossil remains. It was a long, quiet exile of the soul, wandering between desolate, barren wilderness and the overwhelming grandeur of natural history. Now let your thoughts drift slowly away with the desert wind, traveling back to that windy dawn when the world of exploration awaited his arrival. In the late spring of 1922, Roy Chapman Andrews and his expedition team crossed the ancient city walls of Zhangjiago. In that turbulent, chaotic era, beyond the protective walls lay a gray, dangerous borderland tangled with warlords, roaming bandit gangs, and brutal extreme weather conditions. Many regarded his ambition as sheer madness, for he planned to carry not only heavy, cumbersome research equipment but also expensive, fragile Dodge automobiles deep into trackless, barren desert lands. Yet his inner intuition spoke far louder than any warning from others. He firmly believed the hidden secrets of human origin lay concealed deep within the inner heart of the Asian continent. As the convoy jolted and rumbled across rough gravel terrain, fierce gusts of wind sent tiny, sharp stones clattering against the vehicle windows. Andrews sat quietly in the passenger seat, sinking into prolonged, thoughtful silence. His mind drifted far from future fame and public praise back to the years long past, when he worked quietly mopping floors within the halls of a natural history museum. That restless longing to be seen and recognized by the world, tangled with the overwhelming unease of being an unknown, ordinary soul, eventually drove him onward into this most primitive, untamed corner of the earth. This marked the first quiet crack in his destined journey. He risked all his sponsorship funding and even his own life, determined to unlock a door sealed away for hundreds of millions of years. On their first night camping beneath the open sky, distant wolf howls mingled with haunting rumors of roaming bandits around the crackling campfire. Andrews tightened his grip around the handle of his pistol, feeling for the first time the immense, oppressive weight of the untamed wilderness. Within the vast expanse of the Gobi, the greatest danger rarely came from hunger, thirst, or harsh weather. It lurked in the ruthless mounted bandits wandering far beyond the reach of law and order. Andrews' convoy was blocked multiple times by armed, fierce outlaws in narrow mountain valleys, each encounter a tense life or death gamble. He never flinched or retreated, instead relying on the psychological shock created by these monster automobiles, never seen before by local bandits, paired with his own almost reckless confidence to negotiate calmly face to face. He once sat drinking quietly with bandit leaders inside a simple tent, his expression as calm and still as deep unrippled water, fully aware that one sudden careless movement from his host could end his entire expedition in an instant. This tense balance, walking constantly on the edge of mortal danger, never filled him with reckless excitement. Instead, it stirred a profound, fated emptiness deep within his heart. He began to realize that, though surrounded by his team and companions, he was drifting farther and farther away from true civilized society. In many quiet ways he was no different from these wanderers struggling to survive amid endless sand, all lonely souls driven forward by some hidden inner desire. It was during these tense, sleepless nights that he filled his notebooks with quiet reflections on the fragile, fleeting nature of human life, pressed relentlessly by the turbulence of his era. He had no choice but to dig something far more enduring than death itself out of this blood-hued sandy wilderness. At last the expedition reached the striking red cliff faces beneath the blazing mountain range, a place Andrews named the Flaming Perilous Cliffs. It was the summer of 1923, the midday sun scorching the ground until it seemed ready to burn dry. Team members labored mechanically, digging steadily through layered rock formations in sweltering heat. At this moment Andrews' assistant Shackelford stumbled upon something strange: several oval-shaped objects lying neatly embedded within layers of sandstone. Andrews set down his soft fossil brush, holding his breath in quiet awe, fully aware he stood on the verge of uncovering one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in scientific history. Until that moment the entire global academic community universally accepted that dinosaurs gave birth to live young, or held no solid tangible proof of egg-laying reproduction. Yet here upon this desolate, lonely stretch of Gobi sand they discovered a preserved nest of dinosaur eggs traveling across hundreds of millions of years, frozen forever in the gentle protective posture of a mother guarding her unborn young. Andrews knelt down upon the scorching hot sand, his fingertips trembling slightly as he brushed away fine dust from the ancient egg shells. In that profound, timeless instant all motion seemed to stand still. The threat of roaming bandits, the heavy pressure of limited funding, the noisy chaos of the mortal world all faded completely away, leaving only the quiet, echoing warmth of maternal instinct spanning countless geological epochs. He no longer felt like an outsider intruding upon ancient sacred land, but a humble witness standing silently to behold the unyielding spark of life enduring through the harshest natural trials. Yet the most brilliant milestone achievements almost always carry the sharpest hidden costs. Following the astonishing discovery of these fossil treasures hailed as golden relics of prehistory, Andrews became entangled within an intricate, swirling vortex of political power and conflicting interests. At that time the Chinese government and local public sentiment began growing increasingly resistant and suspicious toward foreign expedition teams roaming freely across inland lands. He was publicly accused of being a scientific robber, plundering precious cultural relics, facing severe troubles including the seizure of his entire convoy and the imprisonment of his team members. Andrews sat quietly inside a traditional courtyard residence in Beijing, gazing out toward the fading sunset. Filled with quiet confusion and overwhelming exhaustion, he believed sincerely he was rescuing priceless scientific knowledge from oblivion, while his era judged him as an intruder invading and seizing local cultural heritage. This sharp break between self-identity and public perception left him drowning in unprecedented loneliness. He attempted time and again to communicate and reason, hoping the pure pursuit of science could persuade the tangled complexity of political power, yet he could only retreat step by step amid endless bureaucratic evasion and delay. The westward expedition route he had cherished and built with all his heart was forced to close permanently amid the political unrest of the 1930s, a bitter regret that lingered with him for the rest of his lifetime. What he left behind extended far beyond the fossil specimens shipped to New York. He also carried within his soul a deep misplaced love for this vast wilderness land he could never fully take with him. In his later retired years, Andrews withdrew to his quiet farm in California, yet his heart and spirit never truly left the endless sands of the Gobi. He often woke abruptly from vivid dreams, finding himself once again standing beneath those towering red cliff faces, fierce desert winds tangling wildly through his hair. He once wrote in his memoirs that whenever he closed his eyes, the absolute profound silence of the Gobi would sweep over him like endless rising tides. No longer the celebrated, distinguished museum director, he was merely an aging man longing to hear once again the familiar distant ringing of camel bells. He spent hours sorting through old photographs of ancient bones and preserved dinosaur egg nests, yet what he saw was not worldly fame and glorious achievement, but the memory of companions buried silently beneath drifting sand and the quiet ancient spirits he had disturbed by venturing into their timeless resting place. He came to understand that his own life resembled One of those ancient dinosaur eggs encased within the hard shell of fate, gradually stripped bare, displayed for the world to see, and slowly weathered away by the endless passage of time. In the fading twilight of his life he slowly learned to reconcile with unsolved mysteries, unfulfilled journeys, and lingering regrets. That profound sense of desolate solitude no longer brought fear, it turned into gentle quiet companionship, guiding him steadily toward his final destined resting place. Now, as we listen to this distant tale within the warmth and comfort of quiet rooms, the face of the Gobi Andrews once wandered may have changed greatly with time, yet the dinosaur eggs he unearthed still lie peacefully displayed behind museum glass cabinets, silently telling the timeless story of life's unbreakable resilience. His life answers the quiet, lingering suspense woven into the opening tale. Amid extreme contrasts of fate, one person can carry both the mark of an outsider and the spirit of a devoted giver. What he bequeathed to the world stretches far beyond fossil relics. It is the unshakable courage to search for profound meaning hidden within desolate, empty wilderness. The firelight softens low and faint, and the story draws to its gentle close. May your dreams stretch as vast, deep, and peaceful as the starry sky above the great desert. No need to dwell on what time may forget, for what is truly profound and eternal is already etched forever within the natural lines of ancient rock. Slow your breathing and let the fine soft drizzle of the desert wash away all weariness of the day. Good night and sweet dreams.